I got people with me. Where are we going? We can turn this around so you can see. There. Where is this, Karl?
This is right outside the center of Luster in Sogn.
And where are we going, actually?
Same fjord, different location.
We'll sit by the dock? Yeah. Yeah, we go sit on the dock. If it rains, we'll move. Okay, why are we not in the Viking village today?
Well, because we have the day off, and we decided to go with my father to Luster Sanatorium.
What is Luster Sanatorium?
It used to be a tuberculosis sanatorium up in the mountains here.
Yeah.
Um,
Look at that tree.
So it used to be accessible by a cable car, and it is a fairly big, four-story, really big old building built in 1902.
Yeah.
And it was a tuberculosis sanatorium for a while. Then it was an insane asylum. Then it was a refugee center. And then it has been not used for anything for 20, 30 years. And now they are renovating it to turn it into a hotel.
And it's at the top of that, isn't it? Like up there? On the other side of it though, but...
I think it is hard to see from down here.
Yeah, I think we're on the other side. It's around, because you have to go around that bend. And then you start climbing up the mountain. How long did it take us to drive up that mountain? We had to go at the pace of a snail though.
But the road turns 13 times.
Kanskje vi... Yeah.
No, my father knew because
Your father
he
knew?
has taken that road a couple of times.
We could sit here. There we go. I can, you can sit there, Karl. I'm gonna try to find a place to sit so I'm not bugging the lady. He's got my box of goodies. Okay. And then I'm gonna turn this around. I'm just gonna make everyone sit first. Okay. Got it. Oh, here we go. Albert is here. He says the history sounds the same for Dala as the one in Sandnes. Do you know that one?
I'm not familiar with those now, but yeah, there were multiples of this.
Oh.
I'm actually quite familiar with the Dala place.
Are you? Okay, I gotta turn on you. You can tell. Ah!
Oh, well.
We're all looking down on the camera today.
Yeah.
But this is the only way the microphone works great.
So I can't tell you much of the details from Dale, but I know it's been closed down. And now it's, amongst others, used for a LARP group has rented one of the buildings and used them to organize LARPs. So I've actually been to Dale last weekend.
Oh, could you do LARPing? Who are you, by the way?
Yeah.
He's come up from the other side of YouTube.
Yeah, I'm the one who on occasions pesters the feed with input.
It's Bjørnare.
Yeah.
And who are you?
I'm Kaja. I'm Karl's sister.
Look, they look
not
alike.
The famous one. I'm the other one.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're good. Why is your other sister suddenly famous? There, you can see how you see.
Everybody knows, so I don't have to tell the story.
Because she's good at advertising hotels.
Apparently, yeah. No, there was an article about her in CNN about 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Her and Ida, they got married. And apparently Ida has a massive Twitter following.
Yeah.
I don't still don't have Twitter.
famous.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I posted pictures on my Facebook. I'm like, oh look, congratulations, these two got married. Like, oh, I follow her. Like, okay. I don't have Twitter.
I think Ida has posted a very cool Twitter picture today.
Did she?
Because in the sanatorium,
that's right, the homo
they
one.
found a gay slur tag on the wall, so they took a selfie.
It said homo. I actually took a picture of it because but my kids wanted to stand in front of it, but then they didn't. So I'm like, okay, we can. Well, Cecilia did. Cecilia was thinking about it, and she would only do it if you did it, and then you didn't want to do it, and then okay. Anyway, so I thought we'd just take a picture of the wall and I can glue them in after. But no, that was perfect for them. Here, I say hi to people. Actually, we'll turn it this way a little bit. Ooh, there. That's why it looks like drunk driving when I run this thing. Let's see. Very important. I think Charlotte was first. Nope, maybe another one. Nope, Albert was before Charlotta. It's very important to see who gets on first for some reason. Garcia is here. I see we're right in the temperatures. You got to do that. Arlene is here. It's sunny in Winnipeg. It was hot and sunny here too. She's looking forward to seeing the inside of the place. Oh, I want to go in there, but there's no internet coverage. So we did go in there, but if you go on Instagram, on my Instagram, and you look in the stories, but I even actually made a little story folder called Harastølen, but you can see pictures in there. I think I posted like 15 of them. I can post them actually later onto the other feed too. But anyway, so you can go and see what it looks like in there. So right now we're actually down at the bottom of the hill where there is internet coverage. Charlotte said she got home from plant dyeing course, so much blue. Oh, she went! Was that Lila's course? So much blue, that's the best. I have to take Lila's course because I still can't be bothered to... I'm too afraid. I have plant dyeing anxiety that if I do all the work for the blue or the red, it won't turn out. But I should just try it. Torunn Holmsdotter, did I have that right? Holmsdotter. Oh, hello. And Gudagra, Texas. Did she change her username? I think that's the same Torunn I was thinking of before. And hi, by the way. And Lindsay's here as well. They're talking about the rain, by the way. They're going to get a massive amount of rain down there. Did you hear that? California's going to be like the new flooding place in the next 20 years. They're supposed to get the big one.
Oh.
Apparently.
Yeah, then I won't have to steal your likes.
We must be really good at praying for rain. I don't know. Yeah. No, they can't steal Lake Superior. Lindsay says, hello, Lisa Torday is here. She's in Gudvangen right now, and we came here. I'm so sorry. No, not really. I'm happy to be here, too. Hello from Adirondack, says Suzanne. And Albert is getting his cider, so he's ready to go. And what else am I missing? More people. Rhonda's here from Denver. Perud is here from Moscow. It's cool and rainy winter here for where she is. Actually, it's starting to go that way here. Heidi Lee set this here, Runa's sister. Ja, det är I spökehuset. Well, we're not in it, we're under it. Kind of. But we went in it. We tried to sit on a bed tell the story about the possessed... What is it? The lady that got the bad energy. You said it was a crystal waving lady. Tell the story.
This is the thing. If you take a crystal waving lady into a room and you put the TV camera in front of her, she is going to feel energy. She felt energy in the bed. We put Alex and Cecilia on the bed. They felt energy in the bed.
And your sister?
Your sister sat on the bed too.
Yeah, and she was also energized. So,
Well, not me, the other one. But didn't you get the ghost story to tell?
Oh
Yeah, tell the ghost story. Tell me.
And
I want to hear.
This isn't even kidding, because when we went up there, the guides were a bit standoff-ish. They were a bit grumpy, actually, and say, well, actually, we can't allow more than 10 people
Oh,
in
that's right, yeah.
because of the... it's actually a live construction site. So Kaja was putting on her smiley face, and we managed to get the guided tour, all 14 of us.
I didn't think they was grumpy at all. I thought they were concerned.
Yeah.
That they didn't want us to fall through any holes.
Grumpy is actually the Norwegian translation for... No, concerned is the Norwegian translation for the English grumpy.
So I was sort of thinking we should be a bit strict, so they think we were serious. So I was sort of, well, okay, this is how we do this, and don't run off. And
This
then
part is true.
Yeah.
He's good at that, by the way. I noticed if you ever have a hostage takeover, that's your guy.
And then I started counting everybody in, so
Yeah.
I counted 14. And then whenever we went inside, I did the counting, I counted to 15.
Yeah, I was
And
thinking...
then when we were finished with the tour and I was outside, I counted 14 again. So we had one extra with us while we
I think it was the photographer that went with the interviewer. Or the...
But that will destroy the story.
that will destroy...
My
You're right, I'm so sorry.
explanation is that he can't count.
He was sitting on the... I know he couldn't count.
the
Because
guy I thought was the photographer is apparently the son of... not
Our
Solfrid,
cousin,
the other one,
Kjellfrid.
yes. Yeah.
So you're really knowing your family members well.
Family members.
They live now, so they're not that important.
No?
Well, the thing is, I saw him counting, and I started counting while you were counting, but by the time I got to you, I was at the end of the counts. I'm like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. And you're like, you got 14. I'm like, okay, I just can't count, apparently. It was a ghost. It was a ghost.
This was a ghost story. It's the best one I
Yeah, I'm
could
sorry.
come up with.
It was a good ghost story. It's sitting up there on the bed. Got the energy or whatever. But what is it? There was some psychic lady or something. That was it. And she goes up there and she sits on the bed. Or she felt a lot of energy in this room.
Yes.
She makes a living out of feeling energies.
Yeah.
I always feel energy.
And I don't know if I'd call that a bed. It was a cot. You know,
Yes.
one of those from 19, God knows what.
Yeah, and it's
She get the heebie-jeebies and ran away, was it, when she sat on the bed?
no, she just felt energies.
Oh,
I feel energies. That's what I do.
okay. So we put my kids on it to see if they got possessed. And, well, she's not in the car or on the phone anymore, so she must be possessed.
She's poking water over there.
Are you possessed? Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely possessed. She's looking too happy. Say hi,
She
Alex.
doesn't have a phone. There is something wrong with her.
She's actually playing in the sand. Okay, let's see. You could always boil things in an iron pot, Karen. Oh yeah, that'll turn it green. Anytime I use an iron pot, it goes green. I don't even think I need the damn plant anymore. It'll just go green. Lisa says, oh yeah, Ashley, my madder dyed yarn. It seemed to lose color when I joined the ends. Oh, you might not. It might still be need rinsing, but she got really nice reds. I saw that she was. They won't get that red, will they? And hers did. They got really, really red. But I had I made a red hood. This is on Instagram, but waist down. Really fat yarn, plant dyed, or not plant dyed, but hand dyed yarn from California or something. And as I was needle binding with it, I noticed my whole hands looked like I was bleeding. The red just kept coming off. So actually, I think that one is still available, but I can't put it in the store because it's too bright of a color. But whoever gets that might want to be real careful in the rain. I think all their clothes might go red. But so if it was still doing that, I don't know if it needed to be rinsed more or what. But I think vinegar. I think if you soak it in vinegar, that might set the color a bit more. Better read up on that. Don't trust me. According to my kid, vinegar stinks. It does. It's windy in Gudvangen, and the white tent fell over and broke. I heard there's chaos going from our boss on the other channel. I didn't see it though, but you did.
No, but presumably somebody there is dealing with it,
Yes.
I assume.
But you need a little adventure, so I'm not a big fan of that tent anyway. It's like this big marquise, so that's white, but it's actually plastic. I think it's plastic. Yeah, it's plastic anyway. But so the people who are ordering that or who are getting the food from the cruise ships don't get wet while they're standing in line. They have it under there, so it's not something that we permanently have. But I think they brought it out for the cruise ships, and then all of a sudden it blew away. Kiwi's here. Hello. Morgan said, Rhonda said she missed a couple of weeks inside what place? Oh, she missed a couple of minutes. We went inside of the picture that's on the cover of the thumbnail for this. It is Harastølen Luster Sanatorium. We are in Luster right now. Actually, this is what Luster looks like. Am I saying that right, native people? This is Luster.
Yeah, it's good.
Oh, Andy, JP, and Knut just fixed the, or Jan Preben and Knut just fixed the tent, so all is good. Or the, oh, so it's actually quite pretty here. But Karl, one more time, what is it? The sanitarium thing that we were
Well, I
at?
can't do the whole story.
I'll do the whole
as
story.
I understand it. Because this is part of what I worked on before I started as a Viking.
Yeah.
The old church, you are never completely safe that you're going to go to heaven. So a lot of people ended up either putting all their land in their will or just giving it off to the church. Not necessarily as to get out of sins, but because giving gifts to the church is good for your soul, basically.
Oh, this is a bigger story.
So from here and north up to Selje and a little bit further north, that area was called Nordre Bergenhus Amt, basically the northern Bergen region. And in this area, 1/3 of all the farms were owned by the church. Then you have the Reformation. In Norway, that's 1545 to about 1537. And one kind of extraordinary thing happens here, because all of this land that belonged to the church now belongs to the crown. And in a very weird and unprecedented move, the then Danish king, I believe it is Christian III, but I'm not sure, basically goes, yeah, but I'm already stinking rich. What do I want with all of this? I'll give it to St. Jørgens Hospital. St. Jørgens Hospital was a leprosy hospital in Bergen. Because back then, the thing that was killing people, particularly in Norway and Iceland for some reason, was leprosy. And St. Jørgens Hospital was basically the people who took care of the people with leprosy, and they couldn't really do anything to cure it, but at least they could keep them away from other people and feed them and so on. And then time goes by, and from Bergen you have this guy called Armaur Hansen.
Hey.
Armaur Hansen is a smart guy for his time. He's also kind of a ruthless bastard, so he had nothing against experimenting on humans when he felt like it. But he discovers the lepra bacterium. And this also kind of makes it possible to defeat leprosy as a disease. And when leprosy is gone, St. Jørgens Hospital, or the foundation that basically got all this land, now has a lot of resources they can spend on another great disease of the time, tuberculosis. And this is one thing I don't think the normal people, particularly not the normal vaccine skeptics, really understand. And that is that back in my father's day, my father is probably from the last generation that kind of had to deal with this. But the reason the baby boomers are so many is because people basically had to they had to have a lot of children because some of them will almost inevitably die from tuberculosis. So you have these big families that now grow up because tuberculosis wasn't an issue anymore. But in the time right after the Second World War, tuberculosis isn't 100% deadly anymore. You can cure it, but if it has been going on for a while, you still need surgery, and you don't want these people to be intermixed with other people and spreading the disease. So the sanatorium was built in 1902, so past leprosy and in the beginning of the period when they are working against tuberculosis. And then I don't know exactly when they stopped being a tuberculosis sanatorium, but you can now treat tuberculosis easily enough with medication, unless it's multi-resistant, but we cross that bridge when we have to. So this building started out as a tuberculosis sanatorium, and tuberculosis gets solved by basically the same resources that solved leprosy. They still have this great big building, and they use it as insane asylum. So people with mental problems are sent up there and institutionalized. This goes on from at least, I believe, somewhere in the 60s until end of the 80s or maybe early 90s. Because back then we get a mental health reform that is called HVPU-reformen in Norwegian, which means hjemvendte psykisk utviklingshemmede. And it means something like the return of the mentally challenged. They are now supposed to take care of them.
That sounds like a really good show.
We are now supposed to take care of them in their own environment instead of sending them to institutions far, far away. So instead of having one big institution that basically takes all the loonies from all of Western Norway, we now have small institutions in basically every village that has like one or two loonies. I don't know, loony is probably not the right word, but we are here talking about people with
At least you're not
mental problems.
insulting people with different other countries now. You're just
No, I'm insulting the differently abled.
and the crystal waivers. You've
Yes,
insulted
but the
her.
crystal waivers deserve it. The people with mental problems don't really. And this, so in the late 90s, they don't need it as a insane asylum anymore. So they then start using it as a refugee center. But it is extremely isolated. It's basically a 4-story building on the top of a bloody mountain, mostly accessible by a one-line road that really cars, as we noticed today, 2 cars can't really meet. It also used to have a cable car, but I don't know how long the cable car lasted. I'm pretty sure it wasn't working anymore when it was a refugee center.
Yeah, what is that called? It's an elevated cable car that goes up.
It fell down.
Oh,
There's a journalist who has worked there during the time it was an insane asylum. She told that one of the 2 cars fell down, but
it would go like,
luckily it was the car that had nobody in it. So the car,
oh my God.
there were people in the other car, and I'm guessing that wire got a bit bungee when the other car fell off. It was basically that the car was so light, so it was so windy that the empty car was swiveled around the cable.
Oh my
and fell
God.
off.
Jeebus.
Imagine, okay, so it's on the other side of this, it's around this bend, but it would be like going up like that. I don't know what you call that, a vertical cable car. We call it and I think that's what we're thinking is an incline.
We call it gondolbana.
It could be a
Yeah,
gondola. Gondola, yeah.
That might be the...
There
Another fun fact I picked up by the guide, who actually also is one of the 3
Yeah,
investors who have actually bought the
that was
place.
kind of fortunate.
He said that at the time it was built, it cost around 700,000 Norwegian kroner, and that at the time, apart from the Norwegian castle, was the most expensive building in Norway.
It's huge. I mean, it's massive. It's like
Yeah.
3 buildings put together in one. It just kept going and going and going, and we only saw part of it. But
Yeah, and a fairly tiny part. We weren't even in the basement.
so before we
And
go,
also,
yeah, go ahead.
normal people use their savings to help pay for the building. So it was
Oh, yeah.
sort of crowdfunded in 1992.
But now it's now they've got a lot of restoration funding, but just to do the outside of the building.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
The one that's going to
outside
make the
for
hotel
now,
has
they
to do
are-
the inside themselves.
They are hoping to get investors to buy it as a hotel and then renovate the inside of it.
We're so going back there when it's a hotel, though. Holy
If
crap!
that site ever becomes a hotel, it will be like these
They're going to need a
fairy
helipad.
tale hotels from the
Yeah.
Poirot series in the 30s. It's
Yeah.
gonna
Oh,
be
definitely.
epic.
But they would need a helipad, or when they finally get the hotel built. Actually, no, I think even before that, they're going to have to redo that whole windy road all the way up because it's slowly falling down the mountain.
So if any of you have hotel investor money and feel like a high risk, high reward investment,
Every hotel in this region is booked out.
And if
during
people
summer.
call you crazy, it's got a history as an insane asylum, so might be a good place to check in.
And I would also like we've been making a bit fun of Lunis and Asylum, but
Yeah.
but Karl and Kaja's father has been very adamant in saying that to him this is a positive place.
Yes.
And he said something that made me soften up a little
Aw.
here, because they didn't know whether they were going to live or die.
Tell this
And
story.
they
This he
said
needs to hear.
that they lived every day as if it could be their last. So they really lived, and the wardens up there sort of were on the same page. So they were very supportive of them, and
Yeah.
so all these cliches about strict and harsh regimes, he has either blocked it out completely, or it was really a truly nice place to be.
Yeah. Oh, I thought
Apart
it
from
was.
the fact that you were dying from tuberculosis.
Yeah, because your roommate was, there one day and gone the next, and
He said they were all in the same boat and they didn't know how long they were gonna be in the boat.
yeah.
So they used their oars as well as they could, or something like
Yeah.
that.
If they went to sleep, they didn't know if they'd wake up again in the morning.
it was also kind of funny because we started at the top floor. And the top floor was where the nurses and the medical staff lived. And somebody asked him, was this your room? And he goes, no, I wasn't living up here. I was on the first floor. The nurses lived up here, so I was never up here. Oh, yeah, there was this one midsummer night.
And apparently he doesn't remember what color the walls or the curtains or the lists or anything were. He might have been focused on other things. So the
Yeah,
guy,
it might also have been kind of dark.
So you might have more. You might have more relatives than you're aware of.
you could.
Good. But so could all of you.
Oh, we have to go back to more stories, but first I'm going to see. Torben is here, by the way. And he said the sword master is there. Who is he talking about? Who's the sword master?
He's just talking about Bjørnare.
I
because
know. He's talking about Bjørnare.
Bjørnare had a course in Italian longsword at Meieriet in Sogndal. That's years ago.
Oh yes. Wow. Yeah.
Tell about it, sword
When
master.
you were a young swordmaster.
When you were a young sword master, yeah.
Yeah. Well. Talk about that. It's a bit.
We got a lot of sword people on here, by the way.
Yeah. I went to a Viking site in southern Norway. I met a guy there who was sort of impressive, talking a lot, fighting a lot. And I was so impressed that I went back afterwards. And he was studying this Italian longsword stuff, and he was the only one he was aware of in Norway doing it. So he was a little lonely there. So I wanted to become his little Padawan and his little crash test dummy. So we did a lot of Fiore dagger and longsword and wrestling, and it was fun. But we were in our own little bubble. So as years went by, we have also done a little bit of the German stuff, Talhofer and Ringek, and yeah. And as the HEMA, as the short of the historical European martial arts stuff, sort of took off in northern part of Europe, things have sort of moved on. So I'm sort of yesterday's news. I haven't really touched sword with any serious intent of improving for at least 10 years. So you can call me a retired guy. I will say though that one of my students have been partaking in northern European fencing, HEMA fencing tournaments. So Hanne Eik Pilskog, she is one of my former students, but then she moved on and have improved way beyond any of my capabilities.
Uh-oh. But you guys both do, is it both do LARPing, or do you both do you do LARPing too?
Yeah, we both do.
You gotta talk
LARPing.
about that. Where do you do LARPing
Yeah.
and stuff?
You were talking about Dale.
Yeah.
Maybe you
Dala looks like Dale in English.
want to talk more about that?
Yeah.
I can mention it briefly. So there is a group of dedicated LARPers in Stavanger who sort of make it almost like a job to organize LARPs these days. They also have these, we have sort of like the Christian confirmation, but we also have the a religious confirmation, humanetic Bund association or something like that. Yeah, so it's sort of confirmation for people who are not part of any church.
It's as silly as it seems for an American audience. It's a secular confirmation.
Yeah, and to be honest, I sort, although I regard myself not very important. The point was that this LARP group organized LARPs for this secular confirmation thing. They have this weekend where they are sort of they join the camp as people of the nation, and the nation isn't really defined. It is the nation, and the great leader of the nation knows best. So it's basically an evaluation of how it is to live in a place like North Korea, without mentioning the place North Korea. And we sort of harass 14-year-old children for 24 hours.
But not 13-year-old children? Twins, 13.
Well,
One here,
if
one
they
there.
join the secular confirmation program in Stavanger, they are welcome to join.
What do you think, Alex? Do you want to do that?
No. I don't feel like getting tortured.
She doesn't feel like getting tortured, and
so
Cecilia
they
says no.
They use Dale for this, and they also use Dale for other things. And it's a lot of different stuff. So LARP can be anything from Dungeons and Dragons throwing fireball spells to historical LARPs where you almost are borderline reenactment. So it's like, to describe what is LARP is a bit like describing what is a movie.
Albert
you know?
says like Camp Refugee.
Yeah,
Do you know what that
it's
is?
a bit
Yeah.
like Camp Refugee. Only that they found out it's easier to be in character if you play a 14-year-old kid who doesn't really know what is happening.
Rhonda says, what does that type of confirmation involve?
It involves talking about morale, ethics, life in general, and yeah. So this little this little experience at Dale is to make them sort of value the liberties of a democracy and to sort of get a little taste of how it is like to live in a totalitarian society. Yes.
And the group is called Rekkevidde.
Yeah.
Right?
Rekkevidde, like in the line of
in
inheritance?
English.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, Torben says, you will always be the sword master. He's painting the dragons on his house, by the way. He sent me a picture of it while we were in the Insane Asylum, so it might have been my perspective, but it was a bunch of white strips on the ground with little red crosses on it, and I thought maybe he was trying to make a cosplay nurse outfit or something, but apparently they're going under every window, and those strips are actually pieces of wood. So I figured it wasn't what I was thinking. But anyway, so he's been busy fixing his house. I think there was some other... those kids have always... or those kids could always just come and visit me for a while for the real experience. You want to go to Moscow?
Not right now.
Nope, sorry, Prude. They're not quite up for it yet. Maybe later, though.
Too soon.
A little too soon, yeah. Wow, money. I see this. Okay. Torben says his father worked at Harastølen instead of going to the army. That was just the
Civil service.
loonies rule. No, that was when the loonies ruled the mountain. What did she bring? Oh my God! What the hell are you doing? Okay, I gotta.
She's going to be murdered by her sister.
She's got seaweed. If you push your sister in the water, she's sitting on you the whole way home. No, don't push her in the water. She's got phones and stuff on her. Oh my God, seaweed fight. Is that reenactment or is that for real?
Is it padded seaweed?
Wait.
Is it padded
Take off
seaweed?
my white shirt first.
If it's padded seaweed, then it's lard.
Is
If
it
it's a
padded seaweed?
reenactment, it must be a reenactment about Norwegian conflict with Iceland about fishery rights.
Yes.
Torben says you have to push her. Alex, you don't have any mobile phones or electronic devices on you, do you?
I have stuff I don't want to know about me.
Okay, dinner and a movie. She's going in the water. No, don't throw her in the water, please. Oh God, she just threw. I don't know if you can see it over there. She just literally threw seaweed down the back of her shirt. And the victor. You have to take a shower.
It costs 15 kroner. But the fjord is free and it's only 15 degrees.
Yeah, you could go in the fjord.
It's kind of cold.
Was it cold seaweed? Well, do you regret picking the seaweed? No.
No.
Okay.
We have towels if you need.
Rhonda is sorting choke cherries before boiling them up. Ooh, choke cherries. What are choke cherries in their region? They're little.
Don't know what they are in English. I don't know what they are.
Oh, you got water on my stuff
I
here.
don't know, do you?
Choke cherries. They're
No.
like.
But somebody mentioned the civil service.
I think you got a good vision.
No,
You're
you
clearly
said
not
it.
pushing 50. Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Torben's father.
Oh,
Yeah.
Torben's father, yeah.
So in Norway,
When
back
loonies
in,
ruled the world.
during the Cold War, sort of almost everybody had to serve as a conscription
Mm-hmm.
period. But if you were like a conscious objector or something like that,
Conscientious.
Conscientious
Thank you.
objector, yep.
then you could do something called civil service instead. So my father did the same. So he also served as a teacher on an institution for.
I've just seen this.
Sweden has the same thing. A friend of mine refused to, he says, I absolutely flat out refused to hold a gun. I'm sorry, Carl, it's true. Anyway, he says, I refused to hold a gun.
A Swedish pacifist. How
Yeah.
noble.
So he said, what he ended up doing though was wiping butts for a year, he said. That's how he referred to it.
It's even
So I have to
worse.
wipe butts for a year instead. But he didn't have to, he could stand by his issues of not holding a gun. How do you feel about gun rights, Carl?
I'm Norwegian. I don't have any.
No. He has toys. Let's see. Torben's father also has a no gun rule.
Guns are
Yep.
cool.
Albert says, man, I just remembered my mom is getting me an early meal cookbook. Oh, the early meal cookbook, is that like the medieval cookbook? But is it?
It's I haven't read it. I know what it is. It is like the medieval cookbook, but I think it is more information, less touristy. But I'm not sure. I'm now comparing one blue thing I've never seen to another blue thing I've never seen. So don't take my word for it.
It could be about breakfast.
It could be about breakfast.
No, it is.
No, it was he used the
it
capital
is
letters
about,
and then early and then.
It is about food in the early days, but I think I've put some research into it. This is my impression, but I'm talking about a book I haven't read.
Don't pull my thing out there. Sorry, just playing with my hair. By the way, the choke cherries are called, it's a North American native called Prunus virginiana. It's like the looks on your face. Just, we will look it up. You might have to look it up on your phone. But do you have it on you?
You said penis Virginia.
Not penis, Virginia. Prunus, Virginia.
I thought Prune was in Moscow.
Okay, while he does that, I'll take a little craft break and show you what I made. This is what I had time to do this week. I can turn the camera.
He's smacking
You have
with
to show
pen.
I
them.
will show. Oh yes, I will. I will show
Jordbærku as well.
the Jordbærkuk and the coup. I heard it wrong. Anyway, I spun these. So it actually, this is another one that's supposed to look like black wool, but when you black sheep, but when you start spinning it, you notice it's actually kind of a dark brown. I don't know if
Being
there's
slapped with candy.
anything to show it on, but it actually looks like a really dark brown and has gray flecks. Then a little bit of Grotas and Svarten. So I made these and I plied them on a drop spindle, which I learned. Then to test it, I don't have too much of each color, so I thought maybe I'll make little dice bags. I don't know. It's going to be kind of a holy dice bag, so it might just be, I don't know what it'll be. It's a thing. It could be a toe. Oh, maybe a sock. Anyway. Then, wait, I did more stuff here. I finished Greg's sock, one of them, which is not, this is the one that's been donated to science. Because he has these socks. These socks have a bit of a story to it. It started out as a full sock like here all the way up to the knee. But a friend of mine was visiting and needed a pair of socks. These are way too big for me. But I didn't have socks, so I had leg warmers. So she said if we cut off a length of it, she can have it as a leg warmer. She was desperate, and I said, okay. So she has the top half. So then when Greg decided he needed socks, and these fit him perfectly, okay, so I had to put some of the length back on again. So I did that. And then he wore them for about 3 days and shredded the crap out of them. Both socks, actually. So I have one of these, identical to this part of it, this and this, that is completely shredded, and that will go on the shutter and on the textile house in the village, and then this one will go there as well to show that we always say if you get a hole in your toe or your heel, you can just cut it off and bind it back on. Although this one I probably should have gone one row further, so I ended up weaving it in a little bit there. And of course I used blue, so your patches could be very expensive in a Viking village. You know, if you're gonna patch your clothes, you might as well do it with some style. So I finished it. I've been talking about doing this for about, a year and a half? But yep, so that'll go on the textile house. And then we have this strawberry cow. Do you want to tell that? You have to turn the camera so they can hear you, but you can tell the story about this, Bjørnara.
Well, we have a car, and cars usually have car keys, and this car had 2 car keys, and I love to have something to put on them. So we incidentally had these strawberry cows from some dairy commercial thingy. And
Dairy.
dairy,
I like diary commercial instead of dairy.
dairy,
But yes.
sorry. Yeah. So
Lickdago,
yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. So I've used them for a long time, but then the news came off. So so Karen has been making these wonderful scarves. Now the strawberry.
He's like,
cow
can you
looks
needle
like,
bind? Can you needle bind something for my Jordbærku? And I understood this as not Jordbærku, but Jordbærkuk. I will let the Norwegians laugh at that, and the Americans just wonder. It's not a good thing. It's very.
I have never tried it, so I can't really know.
I'm like, you want me to needle bind something for your Jordbærkuk? Okay. Jordbær means strawberry, but ku, K-U. Anyway, ku. So that's what.
Uansett så virker både jordbærku og eier veldig fornøyd.
Oh, yeah.
Looks like a
She's very
flamboyant
happy
French strawberry.
It
cow.
does. It's a flamboyant French strawberry cow now. With a finished 2+2 stitch. Okay, that was your handcrafting time. Oh, wait, no. I got one more trick. When I was learning how to ply this I only brought one drop spindle with me. So I didn't have a way to ply it like I would before where you run from two spindles into one. So I had to look up on YouTube how to do this because that has the answer for everything. If you take your yarn off your drop spindle, attach one end, just my kids got this full wet now, make a little cut in a toilet paper roll and then just let the yarn sit in it like that, one end, so it just sits. And then you wrap the other end around until you run out, and then you have a center pull ball when you take it off. That was an easy way to make a center pull ball anyway. It's because you'd be able to take yarn from the inside and the outside at the same time, and you could ply that way, which was trickier said than done. Anyway, now Craft Corner is done. I did my bit. Let's see. Okay, there's more in chat though, so you guys got questions.
Yeah, we googled your plant.
You googled her plant, yeah? The
It's
chokecherry?
a straight up American plant. You find it only in northern United States and southern Canada. It's called Virginia heg in Norwegian.
Virginia heg, yeah.
But it's not a plant that, well, somebody might have imported it, but it's not something that exists naturally in Norway.
No, we have them all over Minnesota, but that's more south than here too, though.
Do you know why they are called choke cherries?
Size, I think. It's just
So
really.
you can choke on them, or?
Anybody know why do you call them choke cherries? Oh, they're smaller, but they're real small cherries. Show me the picture. I think it's the one I think it is. My neighbor has one in her yard. If it's the one I think it is. And not to mention, I think I saw.
Yeah, that's the flowers.
Yeah, but where's the one with the cherry itself? Because that looks just like it.
Don't have a picture of the cherry itself. I can see if I can find one.
Because I think they have like a. Let's see. While he Googles. Nurstepinne. Yeah, I don't have a nurstepinne, but you can use a toilet paper roll now. Toilet paper roll for a nurstepinne. Or a nurstepinne actually translates to a skein stick. Stick that you make a skein of yarn on. Yeah, these are the ones that my neighbor has in her yard. Ta-da! Choke cherries. Why they call them choke cherries, I'm not really sure.
They choke you when you eat them.
It's the leaf of a Saskatchewan plant. It says too. Saskatchewans. Like persimmons. They have a lot of oxtail acid, so they taste bitter. This is why my neighbor doesn't do anything with hers, actually. So maybe I should try your recipe or give it to her and see what she can do with it.
Could you plant color with the seaweed?
It's probably, if you put it in an iron pot, I bet it goes green. No seaweed. I don't know if you can plant dye with seaweed. You can plant dye with spinach, so maybe, but the
I thought
color.
that was the first thing you thought every time you saw a new thing.
Put it in I can.
Can I plant dye with this?
We went to the Insane Asylum and I found that we went into the laboratory and like, oh, those cabinets would make really great crafting shelves. So there you go. I wanted those. Okay. What am I making? Yeah, it'll probably be it was going to be a little dice bag, but I think it might be too small and it's a little too holy. So I'm not really sure, but I only have this much of that yarn. So if I make them tandem, maybe it'll be toe-up socks. Ew, I don't want to make toe-up socks. They always end up too big.
You can make a massive strawberry cow.
I can make you back. A strawberry cow. I may need a cover for my toilet paper roll. It's a mushroom. No, I don't know. We'll think of something. It was just basically testing the yarn I spun. Best jelly in the world, she says. Okay, I will have to try that. Lindsay says, I know it's used to calm a cough. Maybe that's why it's called choke cherry. Oh, that's a good idea. That's actually a pretty good guess, I think. Let's see.
Yeah, if you choke somebody, that will stop coughing.
Brutus' parent says, he says matter-of-factly, my parents also have a no-gun rule, says Pruda, that didn't stop the home invaders from tying us up at gunpoint. Luckily, I managed to get the panic button. Holy crap. But yeah, I remember you were saying something. Yeah, she's from South Africa, so things are a little bit... You know, I was watching some super yacht rabbit hole I was in on Netflix, and there's a guy that that's from Zimbabwe or something, and the same thing happened to his family too. It was a scary thing. Let's see. We're back to the kids killing each other. Those kids could have just, oh yeah, that's right, because they didn't want to go to Moscow, so they started to throw seaweed at each other. But anyway, question, how did you get into LARPing?
I read about it somewhere, I think in Norsk Barneblad, and I just thought it sounded really cool and wanted to try it, but I didn't know anyone who did it for many years.
Yeah.
Then I started to meet people who were interested in the same type of things, and then we kind of started to do it as a group.
Yeah.
So it was you and me and your little brother and some others who just kind of tried it out in the beginning, and then we started to reach out and get to know people in other small communities.
Did you start your own group, or did you
Yeah,
join
we
one?
started
Ah.
our own group and learned by making many mistakes.
That's a good way to do it, though. I mean, if you can't find one, start one.
It's
and
a
we're
good
still
advice.
doing it.
You are aware that we have a Viking village that doesn't really do much in January and December, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that would be a
we
good
are
place to do
interested.
LARPing. You should definitely. We did a Battle of the Village around that time too, actually, where they had to be empty though, but that was quite cool.
Yes, but we were also guiding tourists through that.
Yeah,
Right.
that wasn't supposed to be it. It was, yeah, it was one that came in at our booked private guiding at the same time, and then.
Yes, but as long as we say yes to private guidings, we're guiding tourists.
Yeah, so we just
So-
had to. Well, actually, they thought it was really cool to see the Viking or the
Yeah,
fighting
but-
in the village.
The point is
But we
that
had
we
to guide
can't
around them.
guarantee that there aren't tourists, because there always might be tourists.
No, that's true. So maybe you shouldn't run around wheeled weapons in the village then. I was gonna say, backtrack a little bit to your other sister being in on CNN or in the CNN.go.com or whatever it's called. Anyway, the article was about how they found each other and met each other at the workplace, and I couldn't help to see a little trend between you and that sister. And then we're trying to figure out how did you? But then you said you guys met each other going to.
We
you had
did
to
not
study.
meet
In
at
the workplace.
but we work in the same place now.
Oh, so we're all keeping it in the
So-
workplace in the Ordal family. Because we were trying to think how that.
If I remember correctly, both of you were working for the student newspaper in Sogndal, right?
Yeah, we sort of.
Yeah, we were. It's a small place, and yeah.
We, yeah.
So the Ardals have a long tradition of banging in the workplace, as you call it. No, it's
Yes,
not
but,
exactly.
We
Or
were
from the workplace, I should
students,
say, is a better
and
way of saying it.
I don't think we were working a lot, so
We did wash the students' beer hole.
Sorry,
Did
beer
you say
hole?
that?
I didn't.
What is a beer hole?
I didn't want to call it a bar.
I think you meant to say hall.
Oh, beer hall. That's a little different than beer hole.
I was actually thinking about a
I
hole.
was like, it's beer hole, maybe.
At one time we were washing there. We came in there. It had been quite wild, so we started washing with just throwing 60 liters of water on the floor, so it could start to soften up the layer of dried up beer, and then we started washing other places. And I think we did like 7 hours that time.
Arlene's having fresh from the garden cucumber sandwich for lunch. This is fantastic. By the way, the choke cherry things, they make you pucker. That's why they're called choke cherries.
It's
Yeah.
nice if you want to learn the Norwegian letter U, probably then.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, the oost. And, no, that's not ooh, that's o. My friend from Sweden taught me how to say oost. I couldn't say it oost, and he's like, slaps me on the back, oost. Like, oh, okay. No.
Yeah, no, but you can learn Norwegian without violence, you know. Swedish on the other hand.
I could speak Swedish. No, anyway, I just thought that was kind of funny though. But no, anyway, so that was kind of an interesting thing. I had to backtrack about that. But your father had a lot of stories to tell. Do you remember any of them? You were hearing most of them. I was making sure my kids didn't fall down a well.
Yeah. My problem is I have a memory like goldfish. So.
So you're happy in the same little bowl.
Well, obviously he had good periods and bad periods. Sometimes
Yeah.
he is in bed for months on end, and sometimes he is walking around in the area around the sanatorium. And one time when he was walking around in the area around the sanatorium, he almost got murdered by a sheep.
Oh, yeah, tell that story.
Well, it's on a mountain, so there are cliffs. And he is walking around minding his own business when one of these male sheep basically zooms in on his butt and goes boom, and headbutts him into a fence that is over like 30-meter free fall.
Yeah. So imagine standing on the top there, maybe?
I'm bad in geography, so I don't know exactly where it would be.
No,
would
but it
be
was-
back there somewhere. I don't think it's visible from
No,
here.
it's more straight up and down. Okay, let's look at this one. You're standing at the top there and looking over the edge, and a sheep headbutts you from the behind.
But he was thankfully stopped by the fence.
Yeah. You said he was hanging on to the fence too, or was he on the other side of the fence?
He was hanging on the fence because he was basically placed there by the kinetic energy of a ram that rammed him in the butt.
I do remember a story that the journalist who was supposed to interview and hear stories told.
Yeah.
She who was working there.
Oh yeah, that we had to get into
Because
too.
the Insane Asylum was it was on for two waves, or they had two periods where it was used, and the final time it was used as an insane asylum, they transferred a lot of inmates, if I can use that word, from another insane asylum that was
Members? No. It's a membership club.
that was terminated, and she has been to that one, and that was basically like a jail. They were
Oh, really?
served the food from small hatches at the bottom of the door and stuff like that. And she said they were shipped here by boat, so they came like 70 people in this fjord, and they were shipped up there.
Yeah.
And they had prepared some sort of outdoors place for them that was fenced in. And one of the people there, after a few days, came over and asked, "Is it really true that we are allowed to stay here?" Because it was so much improvement from the previous place they'd been to. So
Oh wow.
they were sort of flabbergasted that they could be treated so nicely that they were there. So it was sort of, when do you start torturing us? Sort of, yeah. They couldn't believe that the staff was so nice and stuff. So yeah. So that was one story that was a bit.
I remembered another one, and yeah, I put it on my Instagram in my stories right now. But I did actually make, you have those little bubbles where you can click on a collection of stories, and I made one called Harastølen. Anyway, but one of them you can see a picture straight down an elevator shaft, but it's not really a shaft. There's a stairwell going all the way around it, and it's got this nice lattice work railing that goes all the way through, and just some little guide poles for the elevator to go up and down. But since then, they have put chain link fencing around the guide pole so that you can't quite follow through. And the guy that was telling the tour anyway said they didn't have it originally, but they had to add the chain link fencing around there because a lot of their members thought they could fly, unfortunately. So I thought it was kind of a tragic thing too. I noticed that the glass on the windows to the doors had also metal running through, so that when you break it, it doesn't quite break, it just pushes in. There was also it looked like a laundry, no, it's not a laundry chute, it was like a garbage chute, so you could throw your garbage from any level on the floor, and it would go straight down into a tube thing. I see those they have those in apartment buildings all over the place in Oslo. Probably quite normal there, but I hadn't seen those here before. We had a laundry chute like that at my house, though, where you would throw your clothes down the laundry from the second floor, and it would end up at the laundry room in the basement. What else was there? There was an operating room.
Yeah, but it was actually in the basement, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the small operating room we were in was probably not where he was operating.
No, that was too tiny
No.
to put anybody in. I noticed there was a
actual
temporary wall.
operating room is actually in the basement. I have
Oh, okay.
seen it before, so I know it's there.
We didn't go down in the basement, but there's a picture there was a quote from Marilyn Monroe in the door we came in, and that was the basement.
But I have seen your father without a shirt, and his scars on his back are quite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, is it like 6 rib bones he has removed?
Well,
Is
to
that from
put
the
it like that,
tuberculosis?
then chest surgery that I do with tuberculosis back then is very scarily similar to a blood eagle.
Ooh. Due to tuberculosis, what were they? Explain.
You have to remove a part of the lung because it's too badly damaged. And to get access to the lungs, you cut the ribs and fold out.
Ooh.
Well, that was done in that basement.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And
I think most of them were operated at Rikshospitalet in Oslo. But there is an operating room in the basement.
for
And-
emergencies, or what kind of
No,
operations would they do there?
Because that's where the real experts are.
Ah.
So when they sent, but he also mentioned that it was very rare that somebody actually died there. They just got sent to Oslo and then they had to come back on their own.
Yeah.
Yeah, he mentioned that he could only remember one person dying at the place. I think.
Really, it was only one.
Yeah, but like Karl says, it was the ones who were sent away for surgery elsewhere that never returned.
Yeah. There was also, on a happier note, a movie theater in there too. Oh, you went and checked the machine too. They have like, was it
They
from
have the original one that was there when
the
our dad
movie
was there.
projector?
And it's big and really heavy. And our father, aged 89 years, climbed that ladder.
Oh, I know. I grabbed Karl and
In
like, go
the
behind him.
Uh,
He was so.
to check it out because he had never seen it before. He was like in charge of showing the movies, but not the operator. So he was curious about how this.
It was just like a
machine
little kid.
works.
It's
Yeah.
this little skinny, little cubby hole that you have to you got to climb like up this little ladder, maybe about four rungs or so on the ladder, and then you go up into this tiny little cubby hole to see it. We had a big one. The North Shore Theater also had a big projector like that. I think that's actually still on display in Duluth anyway. But
A lot of things have been looted and stolen because it has been open to the elements and people have been walking in,
Yeah.
some out of curiosity, some to get something, and many to have a party or something.
I noticed there
So-
was a little bar in there, and they took
so
guard.
some things have disappeared over the years, but that movie projector is too big.
And the funniest thing he mentioned that was stolen was
Yeah.
a pulpit chair.
The felted chair? Oh, the pulpit
Pulp-
chair.
yeah,
Yeah,
pulpit
the
chair.
pulpit
It's,
chair.
yeah.
There was a chapel, and it had all these, Catholic calisthenics are coming back to me, these little kneeling pads where you can rest your arms too. But there was supposed to be a pulpit in the chair in the middle, and that one is. He said, but the thing is, that was actually stolen only last year,
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one.
after
that's
the
later.
pandemic.
If you have that at home, please return it.
It would be nice to get it back. It has no value to anyone else, as he says.
Well, but somebody might want to start their own religion.
Yeah. Torben, do you know where it is?
Starting from a pulpit is pretty good.
The pulpitarians.
Albert wrote, when I was in Germany on a school trip where we visited Stasi prison, the East German secret police, and on the guides, one of the guides there was a former prisoner there. And then Torben adds that they also had their own radio channel with a studio in the attic. And, this is at Harastølen though. And then the chef at Harastølen was famous for his moonshine. Oh, that explains the big vats of cooking pottery there that we saw with the pressure chamber and everything. No, the kitchen was actually quite impressive in size. And by the way, Pruda says, it makes sense to date a colleague. Your career is chosen by your passion, so your colleagues will have a lot in common with you. Because I forgot, she and Hector also often work for the same company. Oh, and by the way, Charlotte says it sounds so romantic. So I always grew up with the belief or the saying in my head, never dip your pen in the office ink.
Well, as long as you
I
stick
made it
to
a
one
long time.
inkwell.
As long as you stick it in the right inkwell.
Stick to one.
Stick to one
As soon
inkwell.
as you start waving your pen around multiple inkwells, you're going to have a problem.
Oh, so there you go. little bit of advice. We're at 59 minutes. Anything else you want to add before we go? We're going to be back in Gudvangen next weekend, yeah?
Yeah, highly likely.
Highly likely. So you have to come play with us. You guys, it was fun to have you on this side of YouTube.
It was fun for us too.
Yeah, oh, this was good.
I think everybody should check out Harastølen.
Yeah, you should.
Go there and visit it.
It's
And,
really cool.
If it's a hotel at some point, then maybe we see you there.
Oh yeah, we're going to go there in 10 years, whenever it's done? It's got to take at least 10 years, but party. We're going to need a helicopter though, or a gondola.
Depends. Throw enough money on it and you can have a hotel in 10 years, maybe even shorter.
Yeah,
than
there's a
that.
lot of
But
interior damage
There
that
is a
needs
lot
to-
of money that needs to be thrown on this before it becomes
What
hotel.
happened to that one area, the room that your father had, by the way, and they noticed that there was...
Yeah.
They plugged the hole with a chair.
Water damage.
Yeah.
But it blew in through the window. It knocked...
Yeah,
was
the,
it...
the thing was that originally it was no on the terrace on the outside,
Yeah.
but the terrace was added later. And then as things started to deteriorate, the draining of that terrace was clogged up. So then just it became a swimming pool, and that water
Yeah, because you can see it
seeped
goes
into the
all the
building.
floors.
Mm.
Yeah. So there you go. If you see the picture with the hole in the floor, but somebody thought to throw a chair in it so that they could still see out the window, and that was a great idea for a bridge anyway. But that's the room that Karl and Kaya's father
so,
had.
So the guide actually said that the guy has kept better than the room.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
We
the
have to agree on that.
the person who lived in the room, has kept up well over the years compared to the room.
My father's answer to that was, well, I'll be back in 10 years when this is renovated as a hotel, and then there will be nothing old in this room.
I think he probably will. Do you think he'll be like haunting it, if he could?
I think he has, he likes that place, but he has more favorite places, other places. So if he gets left to haunt whatever he likes, he'll probably roam around on Vänay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or at
But
the Volvo
maybe if
factory in
it's
Sweden.
also haunted by
Maybe.
all his friends from that time.
Oh yeah, there you go. There was one more thing. You had a journalist with you. Is it allowed to mention
a
that?
journalist and writer who is writing a book about Harastølen.
Mm.
Her name is Oddrun, and she was very interested, and she knows a lot about the place. And our father is one of the people she is going to write a lot about.
Yeah, she took a lot of video footage of your father telling the stories. Your father actually turned into the guide. The other guy just is like, well, you can go in this room now. Do you want to tell him what it is? No. Okay, see you on Saturday. Next Saturday, same time. In Gudvangen, though. Bye.
Right?